We all love food, don't we? What am I going to eat today? What shall I cook for lunch? Those are probably some of the most philosophical questions each of us asks themselves on a daily basis. But how much do we know of what isn't consumed? How much do we know about food wastage and food poverty? While we might know the perfect way to cook an avocado, how many of us knew that 4,000 tons of food is wasted every year in UK and 4 million people are affected by food poverty? Today here in Media's World Research, we will discuss this challenging topic.
This is Claudia.
This is Elisa.
And this is Media's World Research. It was around this time last year that the European Parliament urged EU member states to encourage supermarkets to give away the estimated 89 million tons of unsold food that is otherwise binned. France then became the first country in the world to ban supermarkets from throwing away or even destroying unsold food. And now French shops are forced by law to donate products to charities and food banks. Here in the UK, we are still working on it. Tesco has said that it will aim to eradicate all food waste in its stores by 2017 and also plays a very active part in the nationwide redistribution charity program called Community Food Connection. That is basically a platform which works online and connects their store with local charities. They receive a text message about available food and they can pick it up. Isn't it a great idea?
It is! However, on another sad side, we know very little about the fact that up to 50% of the food produced worldwide never makes it to our dinner plates due to food cosmetic standard, with 30% of ugly vegetables thrown away each year. But what are food cosmetic standard? Most food charity would describe it as a brutal casting selection where ugly vegetables are discarded just because they're not pretty enough to be displayed. Only shiny and perfectly shaped cucumbers make it to the shop shelves due to this pretentious marketing strategy. But are people aware of such an issue? We've been in Tesco in Hackney to find out. I wanted to know if you know what cosmetic food standards are.
They're when the supermarket has to throw away loads of vegetables because they don't fit the bill of how exactly they should be perfectly looking.
Food cosmetics then? I don't know.
I know what food standards are. Food cosmetic standards. Cosmetic standards? No. I suppose things have to be laid out in a certain way.
What, that supermarkets reject these products because they don't look aesthetically pleasing? Well, yeah, I disagree with that. I feel like, if it's healthy and it meets the standards and there's fewer chemicals in it or whatever, then that's probably a good thing for them to be selling it. And there should be less emphasis on the way things look.
Ridiculous. I don't care what my food looks like. I really don't, as long as it's nice and fresh. I don't care what shape it is, how long it is, it's fine.
Well, it annoys me the way that supermarkets have a hold on people. They try to manipulate people so they think, if I've got a straight cucumber, then it's better than a curved one. Or if they all look the same shape and pretty, then it's better for you. People don't think about vitamins or... Anyway, I'll stop there.
That's all right. I don't mind any food as long as it's fresh. We could be lumpy, disfigured, like us human beings. All right?
Thanks very much for your time.
A very active organization that works hard in promoting and spreading knowledge about such an issue is Feedback, a charity group that since 2009 has conducted many successful campaigns aimed to find the global food waste scandal. Located in Hackney, we met one of the project managers, the charismatic Karen Luyckx, to find out everything about their fascinating campaigns.
We are working on food waste through 4 different campaigns. The first one is Feeding the 5,000, and we've just had a Feeding the 5,000 event yesterday in New York. And what we do is we work in partnership with lots of local organisations, so voluntary organisations, local council, all sorts of people come together and feed feedback gives the technical support to source ingredients that would have been thrown away if we didn't take them, from vegetables to anything else really, and cook up 5,000 meals that get given away to people for free. Then we have our gleaning network, which are basically volunteers who go into farms to harvest produce that will otherwise not be harvested. The third campaign that we work on is the Stop Dumping campaign, which is about unfair trading practices. So that's a little bit linked to gleaning, what I was just mentioning. So we know that in the UK, I think it's about 80% of retail of food is done through 5 big supermarket chains who hold an enormous amount of power with their suppliers. You might have growers who are growing only for one particular supermarket. So they're very vulnerable, and so we've noticed that, with some we have the evidence out in the open, with others we know it's happening that supermarkets will sort of change orders at the last minute. They think, we're going to sell loads and loads of tomatoes on a certain day in August, and at the last minute, no, actually, we won't need that many tomatoes, and they don't look quite perfect, so we won't buy them off you. And so the supplier, the grower, is stuck with the food, and it goes to waste. The same happens with manufacturers, like, say, sandwich makers. So the risk always seems to be passed back to the supplier, and so there's huge amounts of waste in what we say up the supply chain from the supermarket. So we're trying to get a lot more information on that and try to get governments and supermarkets and the public to act on this. And then the final campaign is the one I work on. It's called the Pig ID, and the Pig ID aims to restore public confidence in what traditionally pigs would eat, which is leftovers, kitchen food waste, which is now prohibited under European law. And that means that lots and lots of kitchen leftovers and restaurant leftovers go to waste, get thrown away, and instead pigs are fed soya, which is grown in the Amazon rainforest and contributes to deforestation. People are starting to know a lot more because you've had the Hugh Fearnley-Withingstall and Jamie Oliver, and kind of it's becoming a lot more mainstream to talk about cosmetic standards. Obviously, supermarkets say it's consumers, and it's true, some consumers go and always pick out the best bits, and then the other stuff gets left. So there's kind of work on both sides to be done. Yeah.
This is Claudia.
This is Elisa.
And this is Media's World Research.
Another very active food organization run by a group of passionate volunteers is FoodCycle. With projects all across the UK, FoodCycle work to reduce food poverty and social isolation, serving tasty and nutritious meals to vulnerable people. The purpose is to cook only using food that would otherwise get wasted. We have on the phone Heather, Director Manager of the Bristol site.
I got involved in FoodCycle on September last year, and I'm one of the cooking managers. So here we collect food, surplus food, from various different suppliers, so some small fruit and veg shops, some larger supermarkets, every Saturday. And then a team of cooking managers and other volunteers cook up a community meal. We have about 25 people come along, have a 3-course meal, and then we sit down with the community. And it's about tackling food waste, but it's also about tackling food poverty and social isolation. And so the idea is that we all sit together and we create a friendly environment for people who maybe don't have someone to sit and eat with normally. We have a few people who are quite regular volunteers. So we've got 2 people that do turn out every single Saturday. And then we have a number of people that maybe do once a month. And then we have a lot of people that come for a one-off. So we need about 12 volunteers on a Saturday. So 3 cyclists, 6 people in the kitchen, and then 3 people hosting the meal. And the people that do come, you can see, need it. They bring Tupperware, and we give them food for a couple of days quite often. There are some homeless people, there are definitely a number of asylum seekers or refugees. And then just some older couples, perhaps, that, struggle to make do on their pension. So it's a real variety, but you can definitely see that they appreciate a 3-course meal. It's healthy, it's nutritious, it's made out of fresh ingredients that a lot of people are struggling to afford in their day-to-day lives now.
Thanks very much for your help.
Thank
you. Bye.
After discovering all these facts behind food wastage, we have surely understood how important it is to work all together to spread more awareness about it, its social consequences, and all the important improvements that could be done.
This is all for today. See you next time.